Imagine a world foreign and unique, with brave heroes. They grow and surpass themselves, facing challenges and overcoming them. We see the best and the most interesting parts of their lives. Things we can believe or do ourselves. They display skills that are amazing, far more than most people who are often mediocre. This story, you've heard it before. It resonates with most people. It is the hero's journey. Like Star Wars, all the main characters of The Lord of the Rings have their arcs. Oftentimes, it is not the fact that these characters are smarter or stronger. Not all of them are. That's not what makes them interesting. It is that they grow. They make choices, sometimes good, other times bad. They learn, and we learn with them. We grow to know them, to understand them. They show us parts of the human experience we would never get to experience otherwise. What's interesting is that's not what happens in the new Star Wars or the new Rings of Power. In these shows, the characters live very quick adventures. Rather than going through areas slowly and having natural conversation that build to epic outcomes, characters rush through epic vistas, skipping all normal discussions to have our characters throw trailer bait dialogue at each other's. What grounds characters and the world is seeing them live normally, then going into an adventure. Skipping steps and doing crazy things straight away disconnects viewers from the characters and therefore the story. The only storyline that's not hurt by this kind of phenomenon is the Hobbit one in the Rings of Power. The time spent in Numenor is completely insufficient to establish the place beyond stereotypes. The Mordor scenes go very quickly, and the plot is incoherent. It oozes of Star Wars sequel syndrome, of crazy reveals that make no sense in a world it takes place in. The jarring reveals of the need of fuel or the Odo maneuver in Star Wars is like the sword creating Mordor, or the elvish occupation of the Southland, or the arrival and taking care of of Gandalf by the halflings in the Rings of Power. These things make very little sense and are completely in contradiction to the lore. The author, Tolkien in this case, which you can see here, establishes plots and creates characters that enable his stories. The utter disregard for logic in the author's world, and foremost the character and their arcs, disnature the original and most basic mechanics of storytelling. Without the correct setups, there can be no proper payoffs. When you change characters, you change your story. They must be done with a great amount of care. When you make the hero a near bumpkin, like the authors of the Ring of Power did to Isildur, or you make Galadriel, who in the original lore is wise, powerful, and a ruler of elves, into a maniac murderer disregarding her vital family life to create an arc about violence and its issues, you weak you and you can also see this kind of phenomenon in the way the Numenorians are weakened into normal men. Also, this ruins their arc, making dwarves into screaming drunkards. Doesn't it not insult the works of Tolkien, who wrote them into a culture skilled and crafty people? Compressing events Compressing events which take place in months, like traveling from Numenor to Middle-earth in a very few scenes, makes us lose the length and impact of distance. It's just like the casino planet in The Last Jedi. Vistas fly by without being used much because no time is given to them. Battle scenes make no sense, the best one being the village scene, which still is quite incoherent. During the battle, you see a castle collapse, destroying the orc army. Then, the orc army attacks the village and gets huge losses. And after having lost two armies and most of the orcs, they have an extra army of orcs. And finally, the Numenorians alive in the nick of time, teleporting across thousands of miles. Literally, thousands of orcs are dead, but the stakes are not correctly established. The victory conditions are not clearly set up, so expectations are just very confused, and the Numenorian arrival then then the reveal, followed directly by the reveal of Mordor, does a jarring subversion of expectations. Subverting expectations is a good trick, but it grows lame and stereotypical and repetitive, especially if it's done twice in a single episode. Stacking reveals at the end of an episode breaks the natural pace of events. Essentially, crazy things always happen in the last 5 minutes of every episode. The Ring of Power is like The Last Jedi, but made into a theory. It's all about subverting expectations and not adapting a story. The Legendarium does not matter to the showrunners. It's just a game of mystery boxes and failed reveals, which makes little sense and are not very interesting or even meaningful. I am done for today. If you have any questions or you want to ask me anything about the Legendarium or my opinion, I am eager to see your comments. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.